ahead and push record. So, welcome everybody. It is our first huddle of April. It's the 7th. Raspberry Fizz relaunched. Wasn't that exciting? I was like so stoked. I had two left in my desk. Whenever flavors go limited, I always like hoard a few that my family doesn't know anything about. And then the other day, my oldest was like, I found your stash. And I was like, yep, I do have a stash. Don't touch it. Please don't touch it. It's my absolute favorite things. So, and it's just different fizz flavors that go out. And then I don't want any of them to drink them. So, anyways, very excited that the raspberry came out. I think that that's a great like new news to be sharing with people. It's also just something to be sharing like in your stories in your VIP group. So I want to just talk for a few minutes about some strategy around April. Obviously, we as a team have a big goal, which means individually you guys have big goals. And anytime you're going for something that you either haven't done before or you haven't done in a while, that would fall under that umbrella of a big goal. So a big goal for some people is going to be getting into qualification for district manager. For other people, get a big goal is completing their next promotion. So whatever that is, just know that there's, I would say we always want to be challenging ourselves to have kind of that next goal. But this is a month, I think, of big goals. And so a couple strategies that I would throw out there for you guys to start to figure out how is that best going to work for you is one. I think it's really important to know when can you work your business. And so time blocking your month for me has been one of the most helpful skills and tools that I use. So at the beginning of every month, I just have my blank calendar. I like this planner, but you guys can use whatever you want. It's called Christian Planner, which I think is a little funny because I'm like, it's a cute planner. I just am like Christian Planner. That's not, I don't even know how I got connected to, but I really do like it as a planner. But it's blank. And then I start to write in all the things that are the non-negotiables that just have to happen or that commitments I've already, made. And for some of you that work full-time jobs or part-time jobs, you would put that in there. And then you're going to start to pencil in the things that are like, hey, this is a thing, but I can maybe skip it, or maybe I could just send my husband and my kids, or I could, maybe come a little late or leave a little bit early to book an event, right? As an example, my birthday is on Friday. I'm not saying that so you guys wish me happy birthday. I'm just saying I had it open-ish, but I was like, well, if we decide to celebrate my birthday, I won't book an event. But then a consultant on the team was like, hey, I booked the 11th. I'd love for you to be there. I'm a little nervous. And I was like, done, let's do it. Right. So for me, that was like a maybe night because it was just a maybe night. But for me in the season of my life and my business, the goals that I have, I'm willing to work on the night of my birthday. Now that's not what everybody would choose to do. But again, that's just an example of like a maybe. And then what you're going to find is you do have blocks of times that are those open times. Some of those open times are going to be more conducive for virtual events. If you want to book a hormone Zoom event with me this month, I love doing those. And every single time I've done them, people love them. They kind of get excited to get, information in a free format about just how to balance their hormones, how to have happy hormones. I'm really just regurgitating a lot of information that Deanna has already put in her book, and I'm just trimming it down. Thank you. Trimming it down for people. So, I'm happy to partner with you guys on those. The nice thing about virtual events is that you can do several of those, back to back to back. Like I've done 2 or 3 in an evening, and you can get in front of a lot of people. You can also do Facebook events or socials. I know Carrie and Michelle have one of those this month so far. And then you've got time for in-person events, for brand calls, for dropping off samples, right? It's just the number that we want to really be hitting is 40 faces, 40 people that we're engaging with in conversation. We're sharing Arbonne with, the story of Arbonne, products and opportunity. And you can do more than 40 faces. You can do less than 40 faces, but 40 is really kind of that target that you're looking for in order to cause growth and movement forward. If you want to go faster, you just do more. If you don't want to necessarily grow or grow it kind of that targeted speed that we've kind of identified in Arbonne, then you do less than 40, right? But 40 is just kind of that number. So one thing, because of the promotions that we obviously have the strawberry and the matcha, that extra 10% off. But that free PC sign up with a $300 order. One of the ways that you guys can leverage this, and it was shared at the area manager retreat this weekend, and then Michelle just kind of reminded me of it tonight, is using the 30 days to healthy living. So somebody can get the 30 days to healthy living set because it's over 300 QV. That means they get the free sign up. And every single time Arbonne does free signups, there's some funny thing in their back office where they can't turn off the free gift. So there's always free gift with free sign up. Because we've asked, like, could you alternate them? Could you do them, like opposite months? And they're like, we'd love to. Which is funny to me. It's 2025. I don't know how on the IT side they haven't figured that out, but there's something in the system that does not allow them to do that at this point. So they get those free gifts, the free shipping. And so there is going to be a group starting on April 21st. We're working on a flyer because that is after Easter and all the candy. And it's going to get people done before Memorial Day, which for a lot of people, that's another kind of like, obviously big national holiday, but that's like the cookout weekend. That's the weekend everybody wants to like, start to just kind of kick off summer or, have like a last hurrah before like they got to finish out the school cycle and things like that. So that 21st is going to be a great time for people to start. You're going to be able to support your clients that decide to do a 30 days healthy living with you, or they can do the 15-day daily habits, or they can do a 7-day at that point, right? You can tier it however people are looking for, but it's just giving people this kind of idea that there's going to be this community that's going to get started on the 21st. And then people will be wrapped up before Memorial Day. But you're going to be able to support them through the text service. So they can text that phone number. We have the images in the team page, and they're going to get text support. Also, the Live to Eat social that Lisa and her team manage, I think just does a great job of creating community, giving resources. They're going to do giveaways. I think they're going to be posting some like exercise tips and things like that. So just lots of valuable information and resources to them. So let's say you get 8 people who decide to do the 30 days healthy living, that's 2,400 or plus, probably closer to 2,600, because I think those are maybe 330 a piece, right? Well, that's a significant amount of sales that are coming in and commissions that you're earning off of those. And then, really typically once people experience the 30 days healthy living, you have a customer kind of for life or for a long time, because once they start to see those benefits and have those kind of results, most people either continue with another 30 days healthy living, or they will, keep the maintaining with the protein, the greens, the fizz and the tea. Those are typically the 4 that get then reordered on repeat. So that would be a good segue then into moving some of those clients into replenish me clients, right? So if think about if you've had people doing 30 days healthy living, then this would be a great time to follow back up with them and just say, hey, if you're loving the products and you could see yourself continuing to use them, I'd love to recommend our Replenish Me program. It just takes the guesswork out of having to remember or, order on time so you don't run out of your products, and you can set it for that 30, 60, 90, or I think 180-day window cycle. So there's a lot of tools that are available to all of us for this month to share. I think that spring is a really great time for for people to be looking at Arbonne, because most people are wanting to feel better. I would say that is one of the main drivers that people are thinking about right now, is how do I feel better? How do I lose the winter chub? How do I want to get active again. I want to be outside. And so they want to feel better. The other thing is I think people are also recognizing that there's just like, in a lot of ways, springtime and as a school year ends, it's kind of the ending of like another year, and maybe just realizing like, hey, I'm looking for something different. I'm looking for new community. I'm looking for more income. So I would say, and one of the things that Lisa really kind of challenged us with this weekend is just to make sure that we are always offering people the opportunity. they can always say no. It's just not our job to decide, but it is our job to offer. And many times, probably too often, we are pre-deciding for people if this business would or wouldn't be a fit for them. So we default to the products, we share the products first instead of really just sharing with them what that full opportunity looks like. So that I think would be the invitation, is to think about that as you're strategizing for your month and then the goals that you have. The last thing that I would say about strategy is, for me, I think that it is the most encouraging and the most motivating to write out your goal, whether that is on a piece of paper or a wipe off board, or different places in your house. I don't know. Put the big number that you're going for and then start subtracting down from that, instead of starting at 0 and then being like, woof, well, I'm at 200. My goal feels so far away. Because say you're going for 4,800, you're going for DM in 1 month. Well, as soon as you get into the 3,000s, even if it's 39.99, that feels better than 800 on the board, right? It's because you can just start to see those numbers start to chip down smaller and smaller. So that's just a mental thing that I would give you guys a tip on, of another way to really strategize for this month. So the training that I wanted to share with you guys is the one that I shared this weekend at the Area Manager VP retreat. And as I was putting it together and sharing it, I was like, gosh, I think that this would be a great training to share with you all. So I took the word trust. Trust is my word for the year for 2025. And I broke it down into just a quick acronym to give you guys 5 things that I would say can help give you a framework for building really a faith-led network marketing business in 2025. And so the first, if you're going to take notes on T, the first letter, this is to take ownership. Okay. So the key point here is you want to remember, and this is probably a daily reminding of yourself, that you are the CEO of your business. So no one is coming to save you. No one's coming to motivate you. This is a independent, you are in business for yourself. You're absolutely not by yourself, but you are the driver of your business. You are the one that's going to set that pace. You are the one that's going to take action or not take action, right? You're the one that's going to get on a call or not get on a call. You're the one that's going to get up a little bit early, or maybe stay up a little bit late, or maybe forgo that TV show or that podcast that you really like. Like for me, I've got some podcasts that I definitely treat as like rewards, like because I just love them. And there's one in particular, and I love her. And she also shows up on YouTube, and I watch her show like it's a TV show, but I'm like, it's almost always an hour. And I'm like, that's a lot of time. I can be doing other things, right? So I will dangle that in front of myself as rewards to maybe watch later in the week, or watch after I've gotten, different asks or activity done, or save it for, the weekend. But again, just because I know that I'm the CEO, I don't have a boss, and I want to lead myself in such a way that as I have team and as I'm bringing on new team, they see what that example looks like. They see what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, right? There is a great difference between being a really great employee and being a great entrepreneur. And so entrepreneurs have to learn how to motivate themselves and how to discipline themselves to show up and do the work when there is absolutely no external pressure. And I would say for most people, especially when they're starting their business, because most people, 99% of people, are already doing something else part-time or full-time. So they aren't dependent financially on their Arbonne business. So there isn't that external pressure like there is with a job, right? You don't ever get fired from Arbonne. You don't ever get written up in Arbonne. And so as entrepreneurs, you have to find what is that thing that's going to keep my hand and keep me doing the thing that I said I was going to do, right? And I think just learning the skill and the habit of keeping your word to yourself is a skill. It is a habit of those high achieving performers. It's just they've learned to do what they said they were going to do. So one of the verses that I love that kind of ties this in is Ecclesiastes 9:10 that just says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all of your might, right? So it's just that principle of giving your best effort, of not just completing the task, but really giving your best there. So I'd love for you to kind of think about, what does ownership look like for you in this season? And that might change as you grow your business. That might change as you prioritize your business. But what does that ownership look like in this season? Because what we don't inspect, other people won't respect. And so if you want other people to, take seriously what you're doing, you have to demonstrate and model that you are taking it seriously. R is reach with purpose. So the key point here is that every conversation is a seed. I think that this is so important because there can be maybe a temptation to just go through the motions of this business of like, oh, I made another ask. Well, I made 5 asks, or I made 10 asks, or I posted my story on, Instagram, or I sent 2 follow-up messages. And so just kind of going through the routine or the habits of the business, but not doing it with an energy or an intentionality or a purposefulness that actually starts to compel people in your conversation. And so I think you want to evaluate what's the energy behind the reach that you have when you reach out to people, when you are engaging with people, when you're asking people, are you downplaying the business and like, oh, I'm just doing this little thing on the side? Well, does that communicate to someone like that you see this as a multi-million-dollar opportunity that it is? No, probably not, right? If you're like, oh, I'm just trying to get a little healthier, does that communicate like, man, I absolutely believe that these are the best products on the market. There's nothing that competes with us, and they're going to give you incredible results, right? So really just having some of that authority, that conviction, that enthusiasm when you speak with people, being mindful about like, who are you looking for? Who, if you could kind of write down like, this is the ideal person I want to be doing business with. Who are they? What do they look like? What are their characteristics? What are their habits? What's their lifestyle, right? Who are the people, who are your clients that you're looking for? I think it's tough for us to appeal to everybody. Like, college age men are not my market. Like, I'm not looking to like try to connect with 24-year-old men, guys, whatever, that's not my market. I'm also probably not really looking to connect with 65-year-old women, right? I mean, I can help 65-year-old women, but that's not my target market. My target market is probably somewhere in that 27 to 47, maybe 55 range, probably a mom of some sorts, busy, somewhat of a professional. And when I'm saying professional, like, you could be literally a professional homeschool mom, right? Like you people who have learned how to manage lots of different things, are good at, being involved in lots of different things. That's who I'm looking for, because those people need to be on top of their game. They need to have great energy. They can't be slowed down by headaches and not sleeping and digestive problems, right? But those are also people that I think are great candidates for hearing about the business. So who are those people? And then when we again communicate with them, listening well enough to what they're telling us, like, we get good at asking questions so that we can uncover and discover how this could be a fit for them, so that when we share it, it really is, what I would say is like an act of service. It is an act of love. There's, the verse tie in here is 1 Corinthians 16:14, let all that you do be done in love, right? I think that when we move and live and operate from a posture of love, like, I'm just wanting to share Arbonne because I love people. Like, I'm passionate about helping people. I want them to feel better. I want them to be in our community. I want them to have more choices. I want them to have the joy of everything that Arbonne brings to people, right? So I want you to think about, who do you need to reach out this week to and make that connection? Maybe somebody that you've been shying away from talking to because they intimidate you, or you're just like, I'm not so sure, like, they would be amazing, but you just are shying away from it, and you're defaulting maybe to like the easy asks instead of the important asks, because I think those can definitely fall into 2 different categories. Are there PCs that you need to circle back with and just say, like, how are you experiencing the products? Are you enjoying them? Are they working for you? What are you loving? What are you not loving? Right. And really, again, make those connections and bring value to people. And if they're like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love them, then that's a great segue to say, could I tell you a little bit more about the business? I know we just mentioned it, but we were kind of really focused on the products and we got you set up on the 30 days. But I mean, I'd love to tell you a little bit more because by just sharing these products, which it sounds like you're kind of already doing, that's really like the concept of the business. And you can get compensated for that, right? So you don't have to overcomplicate it. You can just really meet people where they're at. So think about, who do you need to reach out to this week? You is upgrade your mindset. Next level business requires next level thinking. So I want you to ask, what are you feeding your mind? Because Romans 12:2 says that we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. So what are you thinking about? What are the words that you're speaking? Who are you listening to? Right? What content are you consuming? Because when you are in a season of your business when you're really wanting to grow from one level to the next, you want to grow your mindset. Like really, your ability to grow as a person and grow as a leader is in direct correlation to the size of the business you're able to grow in this kind of an industry, in this kind of a setup, right? So it's not about being the best salesperson. It's not about being like the most organized. It's really about how can you develop personally, which means you develop as a leader. And really, leadership is just influence. How much can you influence others? How much influence do you have with others? And a lot of that influence, almost all of it, is just directly tied to who you are personally as a person, right? So I want you to think about, what are you listening to? You want to shift out of survival mode, out of maintenance mode, rise above comparing yourself with anybody, right? And invest in growth, whether that's mentoring, podcasts, devotionals, journals, however you're gonna recognize, where are your next opportunities for growth? Is it belief in yourself? Is it belief in this industry? Is it belief in the products, right? Is it belief in Arbonne? And usually it's one of those four. There's just opportunity for growth in one of those four areas. So think about what that is. What mindsets do you need to release and what belief do you need to build? Many times, again, like I said at the beginning of the call, when we are going for something, and kind of like the post I made in the team page today, like faith is believing for things you haven't yet seen, right? And this is a business where we always want to be believing for numbers we've never seen before, whether that's sales numbers, whether that's sponsoring numbers. And so it's choosing to see it and to speak it before we actually see it show up in those reports. And, that takes a strong mindset, that takes a willingness to, not look to the left and not look to the right and not to give way to, you know, discouragement. Lisa Bori said to me years ago, she's like, Missy, disappointment is inevitable. It is part of life, but discouragement is a choice. And when she said that to me, I was like, it kind of was like, because I thought just saying, oh, I'm just discouraged was just like stating a fact. But when she really framed it up that way, that I can be disappointed. Disappointment's going to happen if people don't show up. They don't do what they said they were going to do. I'm having a hard time booking my calendar. I can feel disappointed about all of those things, right? But I get to choose whether I'm going to be discouraged about those things. And discouraged means I lack courage. I'm really focusing on what's not happening instead of setting my eyes on all of the possibilities of what could be happening. So S is stack wins. Really, momentum doesn't come from huge leaps, but it just comes from small, faithful steps. So Zechariah 4:10 says, do not despise small beginnings. And I shared at the training that has been actually a verse that I have said many times over, because in my 20 years in Arbonne, you guys, I can't even probably tell you how many times I've been like, okay, we're doing a Discover Arbonne at a Starbucks. and like nobody shows up, right? Or I have traveled home to, and I'm home visiting my family. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do an event and nobody shows up. Or I book an event with a hostess and nobody shows up, right? I mean, it's happened numerous times, more times than I can count. Um, and so I just always remind myself, I'm like, I can't focus on what didn't happen. I just have to remember that everything great starts small. Mustard seeds are itty bitty, teeny tiny, and yet they can create just numerous, growth and crops and stuff. And so we want to track those small wins, whether it's conversations, whether it's your reach outs, your follow ups. Celebrate those small things. Celebrate when someone shows interest, when you create connection. Like right now, I'm just having a back and forth conversation with a gal that I met at a table event. And, I'm just celebrating, like, we're engaging, we're having this back and forth dialogue. She hasn't yet signed up, she hasn't yet purchased or ordered anything, but at this point she thinks I'm really great. She's like, you're so kind and you're so thoughtful. And so those are kind of wins that you want to celebrate completing tasks, again, doing what you said you were going to do, because wins build confidence, and confidence leads to attractiveness. And this business is also a business of being attractive, not like physically attractive, but just attractive in that there's like an excitement, a joy, that energy and enthusiasm that what we're doing, people are like, I don't know what she's doing, but I want to be a part of that. I don't really understand the excitement around like fizz, but everybody's real cranked up about it. So if they're that excited, I might want to check out what this, excitement is all about. So what small win can you maybe celebrate from this past week, where maybe you've been being a little hard on yourself, or you've been focusing on the, like, what's not working, and really start to declare and celebrate what is working. So T is trust. This is the last one. Trust the timing and the favor. So key here is that I believe that the Lord is working even when it feels like nothing is happening. Now, one of the little asterisks here that I said at the retreat was sometimes nothing is happening because people aren't doing anything, right? So I don't want to be like, well, when nothing's happening, everything's happening. But I do believe that when we are faithful, when we are showing up, when we are doing the ask, when we are being consistent in the tasking of this business, that even when it doesn't feel like things are happening, because we can't control the harvest, right? I can't control the results. I can't control when someone's going to sign up. I can't make anybody sign up. I can't make anybody make a purchase, but I can control the planting, and I can control the cultivating, mean the watering, the nourishing in, right? The like checking in, the adding value, the building of those relationships, right? So I can plant seeds and I can nourish them, and then I can trust that the harvest is going to come when the timing is right. And so one of the things is that this business typically works in 90-day cycles. So many times what people are doing right now, they're going to see that really kind of, it sometimes pops way before that, but sometimes it takes that 90 days to get people exposed, to have those multiple asks and invitations and tryings of, samplings of products, things like that. And so sometimes we don't see that kind of fruit come till 90 days later. Well, if I'm just every day planting seeds, then every day from, today there's going to be 90 days out. Well, tomorrow there's going to be another 90 days out. So then you can start to create there's like a fruitful harvest every day when that power of consistency and compounding of time shows up. And so instead of fretting over when is the harvest happening, when are they going to sign up, when am I going to, XYZ, focusing on the who else can I make, like where else can I plant some seeds today? Where else can I cultivate some of these seeds I've already planted? So one of the verses that I love here is that at the proper time, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. And I have, had to remind myself of that many times over. I think that is one of the, most powerful things when you're thinking about parenting, is that we do reap a harvest when we're parenting our kiddos and seeing them grow and develop and flourish, but we can't give up. We can't give up when they're 2 and it's really hard, or when they're 17, it's really hard, or when they're, in their 20s and it's really hard. We just keep staying faithful, and we will see that harvest. So, there's just so much opportunity opportunity ahead of us. And so I just thought that those would be some maybe not necessarily new things to share with you guys tonight, but just some good reminders that you can be implementing into your business this month as you're moving forward, because you've showed up on the call or you're watching the recording because you want to grow your business. You want to be doing that next right thing. You want to be finding, your next teammates. And so these are all those principles that are a part of doing that process and doing it well. So is there anybody have any questions or any comments or ideas for the month that they want to share before we hop off? Nope. Okay. I didn't really want to rehash all the announcements because I feel like those are pretty clear cut. I think the last thing that I would say, since we have been talking about like building your teams, sharing, leading with the business, is just make sure we're offering power to DM to everybody. Like, power to DM is, I know this is going to be like very cliche, it's very powerful because it is getting that promotion, which gives you an 8% pay raise on all of your own purchases, plus everything else connected to your business, with literally half of the requirement. And so it's an exciting thing to get people doing. And I think too, again, believing for things you haven't seen, meaning you could sponsor somebody this week, you could sponsor somebody next week, and by the end of the month, they could do power to DM. That's how this business works, especially when you sponsor people who have influence, who have caught the vision, who are motivated because they maybe have a personal need. So don't think like, oh, I don't have anybody that's going to do power to DM. I would just say you don't have anybody yet. Like, you should know that somebody could literally sign up on the 28th or the 29th and they could get to power to DM by the end of the month. We have people on the team that when they launched their business, within 10 days, they were at 10,000 in sales in 10 days, right? So we can do 3,500 with the 20 plus days that we've got left, for sure. So, all right. Love you ladies so much. Thanks for being on. And I'm going to put up the recording, so I'll have that. So, all right. Good night, everybody. Love y'all.